So now we've looked at how to position with relative and absolute. We just need to do the same again for the bottom section here. So let's go ahead and implement that now. So in our code, in the login form section here, I'm going to create a new component, and this component is going to be continue with Google like so. So let's create this component now in our module login. So new file in the login module called continue with Google or FCE. And in here, I want to add a span of or continue with. So let's go ahead and import this into our component. So that's imported. So now let's save all. And now we should see the or continue with here. So what we need to do is add lines on each side and center it out. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, I'm going to give this a class name of margin top of 10, just to space it out a little bit. Now what I want to do is create a line going all the way across here, and then the text will be above it. So what we'll do is we'll do a relative line and then absolute positioning on this text here. So let's go ahead and implement that. So let's create a div, and this div is going to have a class name of relative, and then the inner div is going to be of position absolute. So let's go ahead and do that with an inset of 0, and it's going to be display of flex, and the items are going to be of center. What I also want to do is add an aria tag in here. So it's going to be aria hidden of true, because essentially this is just a line. So we don't need to let screen readers know about it. And then within this absolute container or within this div, I'm going to create the line now. So this is a div with the class name, and this class name is going to be our width of full. So the width is going to be the line going all the way across, and this width is going to be a border top. So border dash T. So we've declared the border top, and now we need to do the border color. So border color is going to be gray, and we'll be doing 200 like so. So now let's save that and check it out. So we have the line. Now we need to move this continue with over here in between. So let's style the span. So the span is of class name. It's going to have a background of white, so it overrides the line color. It's going to have a text of gray of 900. And then finally, we just need to surround the span in its own div. And this div is going to be of position relative. And this is the display of flex, justify of center. So justify items, putting them in the center. The text is going to be small, and the font is going to be of medium. So that's 500. And then finally, leading -6. So now let's save this and check this out. So now you can see it is implemented correctly. Now there's something I'm missing, so let's go ahead and debug what I've done wrong here. So all you need to do is click this, and then you can see the styles being implemented. So the border is on the top, which is fine. What we need to do is change the margin on the span or the div itself. So let's add margin top of -2 px or -12 px. So there is an issue. So essentially, this inner div is handling the line across. We just need to move this line here down into this div here. So the relative is there. So let's save now. And now you can see the line is here. So it's showing correctly. What you also want to do is add padding on each side on this continue with text. So if I add that in, and that's just going to be here, px of 2. And now if I save, it's spaced out a little bit here. So the last thing to do is the button. So let's just go ahead and implement that underneath. And I'm going to add a React fragment in, so it's both in the same file. And we can add comments in. So this is the continue with. And then now I'm going to add in a comment for the button. And what I'm going to do with the button is I'm going to paste it in and explain it. So essentially, we are using a margin top of 6, we're using display of grid. So the way you would use display of grid is like so. So it's grid and then grid columns, and then you can choose however many columns you want. We have an A tag, which has the styles here. We are hard coding the background color. So this is how you would do it with a hex code, like so. This SVG over here is the Google SVG that I'll show you in a moment, and then also the text here. So let's go ahead and check that out, which is here. So now when we hover over it, you can see here the Google has a hover class as well. So essentially it's the same style. The only difference is the black has a hard-coded hex value in here like so, and we are using grid here. So let's just say this is a 2-column grid, and the button now will go into half. So let's see that. So now you can see here is going into half because we made it as a grid. So that is how you would also use grid. So let's go back onto this one and save. And now that is the login page complete. What I want to do next is the register page, which is essentially the same. So we're just copying the styles across, but changing a few little things. So we're adding an extra input in here, but everything else is the same. And I will do that next.